One of the most painful feelings in life is looking at yourself one day and realizing you changed. Not in the healthy way, not in the peaceful way, but in a way that feels unfamiliar to your own heart. You become quieter, more distant, more emotionally tired, and slowly you start missing the version of yourself that existed before the pain. The version that trusted people easily, the version that felt lighter, the version that did not overthink every little thing. Pain changes people quietly. Sometimes it happens after disappointment, sometimes after betrayal, sometimes after being emotionally exhausted for too long. And eventually, you stop recognizing yourself. You become colder in situations where you once would have been soft. You stop expressing emotions the same way. You start protecting yourself so much that even genuine connection begins to feel uncomfortable. And honestly, that realization hurts deeply, because deep down you know this is not who you wanted to become. Most people do not become emotionally distant overnight. It happens slowly, after carrying too much alone, after staying strong for too long, after being misunderstood too many times, and eventually the heart gets tired. Tired of explaining itself, tired of hoping, tired of feeling everything so deeply, so people start shutting down emotionally just to survive. And at first it feels safer. You stop reacting as much, you stop expecting too much from others, you stop letting people get close enough to hurt you. But over time, that same protection slowly turns into loneliness. Because while you were trying not to feel pain anymore, you also stop feeling peace, softness, and connection the same way. And maybe that is the saddest part. Sometimes pain changes good-hearted people into guarded versions of themselves. Not because they wanted to become cold, but because life slowly convinced them that softness was dangerous. And honestly, there is something heartbreaking about becoming emotionally numb while secretly wishing someone would understand the pain underneath it. Wanting connection, but fearing vulnerability at the same time. Wanting peace, but not knowing how to feel safe anymore. And maybe healing begins with admitting this. You were never meant to live in survival mode forever. You were never meant to carry all this heaviness alone. And becoming someone you never wanted to be does not mean you are ruined forever, because the soft version of you still exists somewhere underneath the exhaustion, underneath the fear, underneath the emotional walls, underneath all the pain you had to survive. And slowly, with time, self-awareness and gentleness toward yourself, you can find your way back again. Not back to the naive version of yourself, but back to a softer, calmer, healthier version. A version of you that still feels deeply without destroying itself in the process.